You're listening to Beyond the Plate with Andrew Kaplan. This sounds so weird. You're listening to Beyond the Plate with Cappy.
The most important thing is believe in your palate. You know, for a chef, it's like, I have to trust myself, right? I have to believe in what I'm doing.
Hey everyone, this is Cappy, and you're listening to Beyond the Plate, a podcast where I sit down in person with the world's culinary elite to explore their journey into the industry and the social impact they have made in their community. Every episode, we share inspiring stories of what it means to be in today's hospitality industry. For this episode, we sat with Chef Massimo Bottura. Bottura is the chef of a restaurant called Osteria Francescana in Modena, Italy. This is a 3-star Michelin restaurant, a restaurant that's been in the top 50 best restaurants in the world since 2010, and bigger than that, it was the number 1 restaurant in the world in 2016. He has a new restaurant opening next week in Florence, Italy, in what was the Gucci Museum, which is being reopened as the Gucci Garden, which has been a very top secret project. Anyhow, his name may sound familiar because he was featured in Season 1, Episode 1 of the Netflix series Chef's Table. If you haven't seen that episode, please watch it. It's amazing. All right, Bottura has a few books, actually maybe 4 books or so, but he happened to be coming through Chicago to promote his newest book called Bread is Gold, Extraordinary Meals with Ordinary Ingredients. Here's the premise. He created a soup kitchen using food waste from Expo 2015 in Milan. He invited some of his best chef friends from around the world to come and create recipes using these food waste ingredients, whatever would show up to the door that morning. And he took those recipes, turned it into this book called Bread is Gold. During this time, I'll give you a little bonus here, they shot a documentary film on this project called Theater of Life, which is also pretty great. From the soup kitchen to the Bread is Gold book, to the documentary film Theater of Life, he started a foundation called Food for Soul. This is a foundation that promotes social awareness of food waste and hunger. This is a perfect example of why we do this podcast, to share the many ways that chefs give back in their community. But he's since opened, 5 of these locations around the world, in Brazil and parts of Italy, and I think he's eyeing the US, but this is it. This is a living, breathing example. I'm going to stop, but please enjoy this conversation as we go beyond the plate with one of the world's best chefs, Chef Massimo Bottura.
I'm here to promote the book Bread is Gold. That is the result of 7 months of work in a soup kitchen in Milan during the Universal Exposition in 2015, in which 65, the most influential chef in the world, they came to Milan and unloading tracks and dedicate time and creativity to work and to feed people in need, migrants, homeless, and write down recipes, improvising on what we had during that period. That was the inevitable waste from the Universal Exposition, but also the products like ordinary ingredients from the supermarkets all around in the area, in these neglected neighborhoods close in Milan.
And that's why we're here today at the Arts Club in Chicago. So thank you. I appreciate that. So I have to tell you, a lot of the chefs that I've talked to on this, I happen to know or have some connection, but obviously I've never met you. But I feel like I can't get enough of you when I read about you and see what you're doing. And I watch Chef's Table, and then I watch Chef's Table again. And then I watch the Theater of Life. Is that what it's called?
Yes, that's another movie.
Yeah, I think I spent over 3 hours on my couch the other night, and my wife was going to bed, saying, honey, when are you coming up? And I said, I'm busy watching a movie. And I feel like I could just go on and watch.
Yeah, because it's contagious.
Yes.
Good ideas, good things are really contagious. Do you want to know more and more and more and
That's right.
be part of the
project? It's powerful. Yeah. It's inspiring. Last time you were in town, you actually signed a cookbook.
Never trust a
skinny Italian chef for my wife, and you wrote this. You want to read that, please?
Katie and Andrew, just to remind you, and in the kitchen, Katie is hungry. That's very good.
I think she probably told you to write that.
No. It was my inspiration.
It was?
I knew it, that you don't spend enough time in the kitchen. So please.
All right, you were spot on.
Yeah.
I need to spend more time in the kitchen. All right, I want to have some fun with this because I know your mind is always going, and it's going right now as you're listening to me. Throughout this interview, I want you to try and create a dish for me that best represents your love for cooking and my love for eating. And at the end of this interview, I'm just going to ask you what this dish is. So just have it simmering on the back burner. All right. All right. Your life as a chef. I want to start with someone who I didn't know was going to be here today, but she sat down next to me during your talk and she said, "Hi, I'm Laura." And I said, "You're Laura? Massimo's Laura?" So I guess now I could say you're Massimo, Laura's Massimo.
Laura and Massimo, yeah.
What's one word that comes to mind when you hear Laura?
Lara was the key point of all my growing as a man and influenced by contemporary art. She really make me look at things in a different direction. It's like I was looking at the world from under the table, but she make me realize that I was doing that. So that's everything, you know. One of my passion is art, contemporary art. Why? Because before meeting Lara, I thought art was over after Duchamp, and I didn't realize that you have to look at things much deeper and think about the idea behind and aesthetic things that usually the artist is doing. And this is something that is a part of my everyday life. I usually steal from the artist ideas, you know, so I transform them into edible bites, you know.
So Laura says her role is catching up with Massimo.
No. It's not true. It's not true. The role is much deeper. You know, it's like she's part of the whole Osteria Francescana world, and she has communication. She writes. She's like into the present of Food for Soul. You know,
Does she cook?
Many different. She cook home for the kids. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
What does she cook?
Many different
directions.
But she's a New Yorker, so she's open to every single cuisine in the world. She's been exposed to that, and her mom she's a great cook because she's very passionate about that. Very exposed to French cuisine, but Lara more. As soon as she arrived in Modena, she really wants to learn the culture of where she was living, and she asked my mom to teach her how to make ragu, good minestrone with vegetables that we all love, especially Charlie, and very healthy food for our kids.
Do you cook for your kids too?
No.
No.
No, never. Never.
Tell me about your kids.
You know, I have two kids. Like Alexa is 21. She lives in Washington.
Oh.
Actually, she was with us yesterday in New York, and she's very into food. She loves eating, and she has a great palate. And we have a 17 years old kid that is called Charlie, and he is a cool dude with a lot of problems, and he's always trying to catch up, but it's not easy for him. Yeah. But we help him to do it, and
that's excellent.
And he's the best waiter in soup kitchen.
Does he love helping out?
Such a pain in the ass for all the volunteers. He's obsessed about napkins. And
attention to detail.
He's folding napkins every single moment. And he's complaining with the other because they didn't put in the right position.
That's so funny. I love it.
It's not funny for the volunteers,
right.
But for us, yes.
Charlie's got his eye on them.
Charlie got his napkin.
Yeah. You're always going. Your energy is nonstop. Is there a day of rest for Massimo, and what does that look like?
But it's not a day of rest, I'm doing what I choose to do. This is my passion, as a to listen to music. Today, the first thing we did when waking up, I made my coffee, double espresso in the room. I turn on my Spotify and play my music and got in a good mood, and that's it. This is my passion. It's like, it's like I'm cooking as to listen to music, as to look at beautiful art, or it's not that oh my God, now it's time to work. Work for me doesn't mean anything. You know?
If you love, my mom always said, if you love what you do, it's not work.
Of course.
Yeah.
Bob Dylan would say that. Bob Dylan was like, what is the secret of success? They ask him, and he answer, waking up in the morning, going to bed in the night, and in the meantime do what I have chosen to do.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So your first restaurant, Campazzo, you were saying you were young, you didn't really know what you were doing. What would you say to that young Massimo now?
To the young Massimo, I said, I would say, believe and think about your dad in a different way, because one day it's gonna pass. And he wasn't. I was very close with my mom. She was the one who helped me, and I kept going and focus for her to show the world that she was right and everybody else was wrong. And I did it. I did it for her. And I'm very happy that my dad, before passing away, he saw the Osteria getting 3 Michelin star for the first time in history for a restaurant in Emilia-Romagna, and I did it,
Yeah.
That's a very, very big thing, and actually was very happy.
That's amazing. So you left at one point Campazzo and you went to New York.
Yeah.
How did going to New York change your life?
Because I met Lara there. New York is always a place where you breathe freedom. You just walk on the street and you get ideas. You just keep going and on, and
Yeah. And you get your inspiration and ideas from art and galleries and things like that, and things like the lemon tart.
Inspiration comes from your passion,
Where was your latest?
Everything.
Where was your latest spark of inspiration?
Latest, I think, is the mark of camouflage. I think is something that to me is very, very important. In every single way we decline it. First was in hair in the wood, create a dessert with hair blood, foie gras, chocolate, coffee, and all this different powder that reminds the wood. And then it's been declining as a risotto with the sea, with the black ink and the calamari and the squid, with the chlorophyll and with the truffle and mushroom from the hill. So it's like the old landscape of Modena. And on the other side, on another camouflage, I did it for the 4th of July party of in U.S. consulate and during the Universal Exposition, that is all red, all these different tone of red and white and blue. That was very beautiful. Beautiful was a cheesecake with blueberry and raspberry and things, as an American flag, but totally abstract. Or many different camouflage as a red mallet. Like Mediterranean camouflage with red, with green of the olives, with the black of the burn black olives, powder. But the last one is it's all of cococha, inspired by the Spanish traditional plate of cod, and like all these part, the gelatin part. They're like one is green, one is brown, one is the double green, one is black, and you see that. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Can you explain that to me deeper? Like the camouflage, you keep using camouflage.
Camouflage is
is
a way of hiding something.
Okay, got it.
You see this black with this multicolor, but tone on tone. Because everything starts from reading a book by Gertrude Stein, who was talking about Picasso, and Picasso was obsessed about the military track before the First World War, and the rumor was that the French, they were building this military track with all these different color, like they were hiding in the wood. You couldn't see them because they were just perfectly.
How interesting is that?
And Picasso one night walking on Boulevard de Raspail with Gertrude Stein. Starts screaming, "Those are the tracks, those are the tracks, that's Cubism." So I said, come on, guys. Picasso was imagining Cubism in 1914 to see a military track. I can imagine everything. So I started cooking plates in a camouflage style and, and create a mark on what you do is one of the most difficult things in the world, It's, for an artist, is the most important thing in the world. You see one thing and you say, that's Damien Hirst, that's Lucio Fontana, that's Manzoni, that's Rothko, and you see that. And everyone else who does that is a copy, So create a mark is very, very important. And I think even for a chef, have a mark of, oops, I dropped the lemon tart, or beautiful psychedelic veal, not flame grilled, with all the side dishes transform into edible colors, or 5 different age Parmigiano in 5 different texture and temperature that reminds is white like the fog. So these things are so important, like the crunchy part of the lasagna.
Oh yeah, my mouth waters every time I hear about.
Did you watch the video?
Yeah,
I did for the New York Times. Incredible, huh?
And here, Taka probably almost had a heart attack and thought he was going to have to run to another town, but you saw it as a jumping off point.
Taka now is in Lyon with his girlfriend. She was the sous chef at Virgilio at Centrale, and she moved to Modena, and she's going to be the new chef at the Gucci Cafe in Florence.
Oh yeah,
we're going to open. And it's all gonna be about women.
Wait, are you doing the food there?
Yes,
I've been to that Gucci Cafe.
Yeah, they're restoring everything.
No way!
And it's gonna be a new museum, the most exclusive store in the world with all unique pieces, and a cafe run by us.
That is exciting.
Yeah, that's exciting. In the main piazza in Florence, it's beautiful.
I almost drove down that piazza by accident. My wife and I just drove into Florence from Montalcino, and we were going down a street, and the police officer said, "I don't think you want to be going down this way." And I said, "Either do I." There's all these people I cannot navigate those streets through, when you get into a little town.
It's very difficult because it's like it's a medieval city,
That's very cool, very interesting. Let's go back in time for a minute. Can you describe your grandmother's cooking to me?
But my grandma was very rustic, but very intense in flavor, very close to tradition. Because my mom was exposed even to the culture of north of Italy, the Mantova, where the Gonzaga, the kitchen from the Gonzaga is very famous because they were really incredible gourmet, and she was exposed to this cuisine because my father is from there, and my grandmother was just focused on Modena's and more specific from the hills outside of Modena, south of Modena, and so it's you need the intense flavor because it's cold, because you work in the field, because many different aspects, social and economic aspects. So she was incredible of making pasta, handmade pasta, and long cooking sauces like ragu, like rabbit alla cacciatora, like chicken and peppers, and on the side of that always some small bread, flat bread called tigelle, cook in a fire.
There's a fantastic chef here, Sarah Gruenberg, a restaurant called Monteverde, and she makes a fantastic tigelle.
Yeah, I know, it's very important. Think about that. At that time, the tigelle are the small stones that you compress the dough in the middle, and you cook under the fire. At one point, you open the stone, and you have the flatbread cooked. You open the flatbread. You go and you make scarpetta inside. Oh my God,
they're so delicious.
I would love something like that right now.
Yeah, when I go to that restaurant, everyone says, "What's tigelle?" I said, "It's like an Italian English muffin." I don't know if you've had an English muffin, but
English muffin, but flatter.
Yeah,
much more flat.
Yeah, it's
and
a little more dense, but there's still some fluffiness to it. I feel like
inside.
Yeah.
It's
delicious.
Yeah, like that.
What's the first most amazing meal that you remember having?
I think the moment I had the first time I had white truffle.
Yeah,
I was very, very young. Because I could say, the gastronomic trip we did on Mont Saint-Michel with my brothers. But I remember there was a moment in which they forced me to eat white truffle with scallopine. It's like veal, flat, saute with some Parmigiano Reggiano sauce and shaved truffle on the top. I think at Osteria Toscana.
Yeah.
But I was 6.
You were 6,
7.
but you remember that meal.
I remember.
Did you
I
know
remember
that?
Because I didn't like the smell, and they said, no, you have to eat it because this is very important for you to understand. And I did it.
And did you know that Parmigiano Reggiano was going to have such a focus on your life later on?
No, but I always loved Parmigiano Reggiano.
What was the first dish you ever cooked that you were proud of?
Crap. I think it's like these crespelle, as we call in Italy, but these are the French crab. It's a mixture of flour, eggs, and milk, with the right texture that you spread on the top of the pan, no stick pan. You remove, and with chocolate sauce that I was asking my mom to make, made with chocolate powder, eggs, butter, and cream. Just warm a little bit up, not to cook the eggs, and put on the top of the crespelle, fold it, and eat it. I think that's one of the first thing I did with pasta alla carbonara or like this kind of stuff.
That's a good one. What was your first job in a restaurant?
My first job in a restaurant, the boss. I was the boss. I start from there. I didn't never work in a restaurant before having my own restaurant.
Really?
Yes.
How does that happen?
I don't know. I was crazy.
Everyone says that as a dishwasher or something like this. Wait, hold on.
No.
How old were you when you stepped into?
I start from the top. And then I moved down to the dishwasher after a little while when I really need it,
You weren't young working in, going to wash
I was studying law school, and I was doing many things. I was helping my father and my brother in a family company, and but I wasn't happy. And then my mom pushed me to follow my passion, and the gastronomic world door was open, and I walk in and I jump. But this is exactly what happened with the refettorio,
Yeah.
I didn't know what to do. I had this idea,
Jump
and
in.
I think that was the best idea I heard on the Universal Exposition, talking with all these states and government and delegation. I said, but these people, they're not getting deep into what they are doing. For me, it's so important to fight waste and feed the planet in that way. And so we did it.
Yeah, you just jumped into having a restaurant. Fast forward.
I jumped for a tree in a river in Australia, and I almost died because of the crocodile. I jump. I love to jump.
That's
I love the
amazing, though.
unexpected.
So then flash forward, your restaurant last year receives #1 restaurant in the world.
Yeah, but number one, number two, number
how
two,
does that
number
feel?
three is numbers. Those are numbers. It's not important. It's important the meaning of that. So if you are like in the 3 best restaurants in the world for the last 7 years, it's like you build a credibility,
Right.
a constancy. Is it right? Costanza?
Consistency?
Consistency.
Yeah.
Consistency.
When you say something in Italian, I speak pretty good Spanish, so
Good,
that's how
good.
When I'm in Italy, I speak
Consistency.
Spanish to them,
Okay.
and they understand
yeah,
better.
we understand.
Yeah.
And it's very important to build credibility, and the people trust you.
Yeah.
And you can really.
That's funny you say. So I interviewed Magnus Nilsson for this, and I asked him the same thing. And he said, yeah, obviously it's nice to get an award or an accolade, but in the village where I live, the people don't care about that.
Yeah,
is
of
what
course.
he said.
In Italy, they did. They still now they pass through and they don't care about Osteria or whatever.
So did it hurt those early reviews? They call you a traitor and things
the
like that?
early reviews, they really kill me.
Yeah.
The first one with a great review was an American one, Faith Willinger, and Anya von Brisman, 2 American ones. Gourmet and Travel and Leisure.
Huh.
Yeah. They understood what I was doing. Maybe they were listening. They were used to listening to people, and what I had to say,
But what does that feel like? You walk in, your restaurant's empty?
It feels strange, struggling. I was like ready to leave, And Lara convinced me to stay 1 more year.
Thank you, Lara. So you've experienced like extreme lows and you've experienced extreme highs. And a lot of that is because of critics. How much do you value their opinion?
I value the opinion I respect, of the people I respect. There are critics that I don't even pay attention. But for the people I respect, I really care what they think, because they help me maybe to understand, to reflect, to ask myself. I always ask myself questions in any direction. So if I receive a critic from a guy I respect, I'm start thinking, and that's something very important.
That seems simple, yet very important at the same time. I feel like
It's very important.
there's 100 critics out there, and
No, under critics, they don't know anything about food.
exactly.
That's the point.
Did that initial critic?
The most important thing is believe in your palate. This is the most important thing. For a chef, is like, if you trust yourself and your palate, that is, and your taste, that is being developed on years, since I was 6 years old, when I had my first truffle, or like even before, with the right chocolate to put in the bread pudding, that's very important, because your palate is up there. And when you have someone like Giro, like the master of the sushi, 92 years old, who say Massimo Bottura is the best palate in the world, it's like, I have to trust myself, right? And I have to believe in what I'm doing. Then, if they don't understand, before and after they will.
When did you start believing in your palate?
But my mom always said that, that I had a great palate.
Oh,
But
okay.
the first one who really said that was in front of me, was a French chef, 2-star Michelin, that is no more with us now. It's called Georges Cogny. That we were like, I was practicing with him, and we went for an event at north of Italy to promote Sauternes, this wine. And he was cooking, and I was as a stagiaire there. So I was, he was cooking, he was opening the dinner with this oyster wrapped in pancetta and sauté with sudiro, very old. And, he wasn't sure about that dish. And he asked his sous chef, and the sous chef said, "Oh, it's fantastic, chef." And then he wasn't happy of the answer. And he asked me. And I said, "Why me?" tell me what you think. I said excess of sapidity. Because I knew it, because an oyster on the pan is getting, I don't want to say salty, but, there's too much sapidity. And even more with pancetta wrapped that, you melt the fat and you leave just the essence and you concentrate the flavor. It's getting so sapid in the palate. And he changed the recipe. So when driving back to our restaurant, I said, Giorgio, you put me in a very difficult position. Ask me this question. I'm the last of the old chain, and you asked to me. And he said, Massimo, your palate is going to take you, and it's going to take Modena all over the world.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, that's amazing. I was 23.
From that first critic that wrote the crap about you, did that critic ever come back?
Sandro Bellei. Yeah, he's no more with us.
No.
Yeah, no. But think about that. The family of his critic asked me to be one of the speakers on reminding Sandro Bellei. I said, no, I'm not going. Come on. No, you have to go. And I went, and I was very nice.
For someone who can't come to Modena, to the number one restaurant in the world, one of the top restaurants in the world, can you describe the experience from driving up to the restaurant? What am I seeing, smelling, hearing?
But don't ask me. You have to ask the people. They come, and I seen, every day so many people, even without reservation, coming in front of the restaurant and take picture, and because it's something, I think, very special, coming in a place that represents much more than a simple meal, It's an experience of emotion. It's an experience of creativity. There are architects, designers, artists, musicians, all the creative the word that is coming, and to understand, to explore, to live the experience. This is, I think, what it is. It's not about food. It's much more. It's like the refettorio is not about. It's much more than number one, number two, number three.
How do you keep up with the food world?
I don't know. I'm doing. I respect all my friends, and they respect me. And so I keep going. The vision and the things that, I'm very passionate on these things, coming and talk with people, change the mind, and, influence other people to follow this kind of, I have this kind of attitude of confronting the food waste and things, and,
Can you tell me the last restaurant experience that you had that stopped you in your tracks, and why?
No, there are so many restaurants. Like the last was like 2 nights ago. We landed in New York, and we were at the Nomad Hotel, and I'm always there since my in-laws moved out from New York, and at the Nomad they all know me. And they let me do my own coffee, my own stuff, and they know how I like them. They know that I love privacy, and they treat me like home. This is very, very nice. And so we were like, we land late, and we arrived around 9:30 in Nomad. We sit in the restaurant. We had the roasted chicken with things, and Will Guidara came, and he hugged us, and he sat at the table, and he opened a Brunello di Montalcino. He ordered some tagliolini with white truffle. I said, soft land in New York.
Will's a good guy, huh?
Very good guy.
Hospitable.
Yeah, hospitality,
Yeah,
yes.
right there.
This is a living example of hospitality.
Yeah, he's fantastic. All right, let's get into the meat of this. The social impact, the giving back. I have this book sitting on the table, Bread is Gold. What was your aha moment for giving back?
I think the book is something, to me, as I said before, is the most important book of the last 30 years.
I wrote that down when you said that.
Yeah, because I think there's no other book with 65 that are the best chef in the world. What? It's unbelievable, and all of them, they were so happy to be part of that. It's a book in which we all put creativity, time, and love in what we were doing with very ordinary ingredients. Beautiful is this extraordinary recipe with ordinary ingredients, because we have to stop calling those food waste. Call them ordinary ingredients is the most important thing. To change the perspective of the people is the ingredients I have in my refrigerator home. And, creating those recipes, it's fantastic. It's a book that every single one can buy and explore and use it every day. Change the recipe with notes. And this is something incredible. And I'm going to use my social media, and I use my social media to promote the book. So it's like, with your credibility, you build your social impact, and on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, and you communicate, as you do, through hundreds of thousands of people. The people are listening. They're ready to listen, They're not just into Netflix or their own stuff. They're ready to listen to people, to good things,
Did you have intention to start? Proceeds from this are going to your new foundation called Food for Soul. So
Yes.
I want to hear about that. Was that the intention? How did that pan out?
We did that to explore the things. And Fidon is always... We had an amazing success with, and still we have, with Never Trust a Skinny Chef.
It's an incredible book.
It's an incredible book. It's much more than a cooking book. And because it's about the creative process and not the recipes. Fidon really believed in me, and he said, we're going to do everything we can to promote the book and to do something with you. And they did it. And, the book is light. You feel very comfortable to keep in your hand. It's perfect for the kitchen. It's very good. Better and better when you have like some chocolate or
some stains
extra
on it.
virgin olive oil stain. And, you see a picture of René Redzepi or Daniel Ham or Alex Atala or, whatever.
These are the best chefs in the world.
The best chef in the world. They're all here. They're all part of this. Ferran Adrià and Albert Adrià. They're like, oh my God, this is incredible.
What did Ferran cook?
Ferran... some crappy food. No. He's good. Ferran he was very good. Ferran he was cooking like croqueta, liquid croqueta. He was transforming a croqueta into a liquid soup. And Albert did one of the most amazing apple sorbet. It was like, wow, this is fantastic.
So you mentioned René Redzepi of Noma, who has also received some top accolades in Theater of Life.
I know what you're gonna say.
What?
Yes, it's gonna stay with me forever. Yeah, maybe yes.
You knew what I was going to say.
Yes.
I just met
because
you.
It's a very topic point,
So just to quote it, René said he came up to Chef Massimo in the kitchen and said, "Hey Massimo, you're in this for life, right?"
Yeah. It's René pushed me to create my own Caritas. My own association of volunteers to guide all this, to be part of this whole movement. But it's like it's very difficult, to run a restaurant like Osteria Francescana. That without Osteria Francescana, I could never do this because it's all about that.
Yeah, it's a good platform for it all.
A platform. We are practicing every day on this. But one day, quizá, maybe yes. Maybe I'm going to do it. I don't know.
Can you explain for the listeners refectorios?
Refectorio is a soup kitchen full of beauty. Architects, artists, and designers are involved, musicians, full of beauty in which you can really create hospitality, a place to change the community because it's a beautiful, amazing place. And through beauty, you can really change the world. And the man doesn't live of bread alone. It's Jesus Christ. It's like it is true. It is true. When someone walk into a place like that, feels very comfortable, very good. So to rebuild the dignity of the people, you just don't need a little bit of bread, but you need an act of smiling, service. And this is the refectorio that comes from the Latin word reficere, to restore, and is to restore the soul, After one day that has been so tragic, living on a street, under a bridge, in an abandoned company, you go in this amazing space full of art, in an amazing, eating on an amazing tables, eating an amazing food, it restores your soul. And we saw that is true. And so this is the refectorio. And in my idea, we had to do something, as I said before in the conference, better than Leonardo da Vinci did 500 years ago. And the most famous refectorio in the world is the one in Milan, in which Leonardo painted the Last Supper. So maybe in 500 years, they're going to look at our refectorio and say, wow, look at this door. This is the Massimo and Laura and Food for Soul refectorio with the door from Mimo Palladino and the neon No More Excuses of Maurizio Nannucci. Who knows?
I know you said this just before in your talk, but can you just repeat for listeners, where are the refectorios right now?
The refectorios are one in Milan, in a neighborhood called Quartiere Greco. Another one in Rio de Janeiro, in Lapa, in one of the most difficult neighborhoods in Rio de Janeiro. Beautiful, beautiful space. One in Modena, downtown. Another one in Bologna. And one in London, 5 minutes walk from Earl's Court, in close to the St. Hubert Church.
Tell me one thing people can do to be more socially conscious.
The best recipe is to restore a relationship with your butcher, your farmers, your fisherman, your person at the counter. Buy the right amount of food for a couple of days, 2-3 days. Keep it in the refrigerator. Cook that amount of food. Buy seasonal. You're going to save money. You're going to eat well, and you're going to fight waste. This is the best recipe I can give. Yeah. Then you're going to buy Food for Soul. Bread is gold. You're going to have Food for Soul. You're going to have so many ideas of what you can do with some breadcrumbs, with some eggs, with some fruit or vegetables. It's like, it's incredible what you can do. You can do so many beautiful things,
Why is it so important for chefs or young cooks to give back?
First, if you are a chef and you believe in this job deeply, it's a job in which you give, I always love more give present than receive presents. And it's exactly as, you come to Osteria from Osaka or Argentina, and after traveling 24 hours, and you're gonna feel the experience of welcome, sit, enjoy, relax, very relaxed atmosphere. Usually there's a Napolitan guy called Pino that is make everyone laugh with his jokes, and it's very good atmosphere. Even the services, we are giving to everyone the possibility to experience this kind of thing. It's like oops, I dropped the elementary. It's exactly the same thing. You sitting at Osteria Francescana, one of the best restaurants in the world, and eat a broken lemon tart, and have a service that is very informal, but very good.
Yeah. Okay, I want to do a quick speed round. So these are just quick answers.
No, I'm not good on that. Okay, good.
What'd you have for dinner last night?
Nothing.
No food?
Nothing.
Ah.
Some grape.
Name a smell in the kitchen you love.
The smell of the music.
Name a smell in the kitchen you hate.
Arrogance.
What pisses you off in a kitchen?
Someone who works for himself and not for the team.
What makes you happy in the kitchen?
To see a team.
All right, we're wrapping up. Do you have a dish you're going to make for me?
Actually, I totally forgot about that.
That's perfect.
But we can improvise something. Give me something, and I'm gonna tell you. Maybe we can do some ravioli.
Oh, delicious! But wait, can you hold that thought? I want to save that for next week's episode of Just a Plate. But I have one last question: who is Massimo Bottura?
He's a man in love of his life.
Thank
who's
you.
living his life as a dream.
Thank you.
Ciao.
Quote, buy the right amount of food for a couple of days. Keep it in the refrigerator. Cook that amount of food and buy seasonal. You're going to save money, you're going to eat well, and you're going to fight waste. This is the best recipe I can give. Thanks again to Chef Massimo Bottura. Find more on him at www.osteriafrancescana.it or foodforsoul.it. Join us next week when Beyond the Plate presents Just the Plate, a short segment where chefs describe a recipe, sharing insider tips on what makes this specific dish meaningful to them. Massimo actually shares a couple dishes. One is a recipe that goes back to his childhood that also happens to be in his new cookbook, Bread is Gold. And he also created an interesting recipe inspired by me. It was very fun. You can find me and keep up to date with this podcast across all social media platforms at On Cappy's Plate or go to BeyondThePlatePodcast.com. We're on Twitter at BT Plate Podcast and Facebook. This episode was produced by myself along with Ian Cohen, Joel Yeaton, and Shant Petrosian. Thank you all around, and our music has been composed by Goldford. Find him at iGoldford. Special shout out to my wife, Katie. Please rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast on your listening site of choice. Thank you for listening to Beyond the Plate. I'm Cappy, and remember, there are never too many cooks in the kitchen.